Good afternoon. Hope everybody's having a nice day. We will take you to 6 o'clock. And I got way better things to do than talk about a team that just lost a series to the Nationals. So we're going to move forward. I have a power stat because I want to build off something Jim Costa did in the morning. Now, Jim and I are on opposite sides, and not in an adversarial way, of the Cade Cunningham conversation. Jim thinks it's blasphemous to talk about seeing what the market would yield and not just blindly handing this off-injured, possibly non-all-NBA player $250 million, who also, by the way, is a 32.5% career three-point shooter. I just think when you're a 14-win team, we have to look at all avenues. So I have a power stat. Because Lord knows we can't talk NBA Finals in this town. No one cares.
Well, you know what? We actually can, Mike. I was about to say, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to bask in that glow.
No, there's no glow. The job is not done. Tomorrow night at 8:30.
It's over.
No, it is not.
It's over.
It is one more game. I have a power stat, and I want to localize.
Is that champagne on the ice, I hear?
No, hasn't even been ordered yet.
Okay.
I'll localize it. And it just jumped out at me watching the finals last night. The number is 63. Do you know what the number 63 represents in these NBA finals and how, in my whacked out brain, I would localize it to the Pistons?
See, I thought you were going to say X's kids, but no.
Oh. At least ones he knows of. The Celtics are plus 63 from the three-point line in the first 3 games of the NBA Finals, meaning they have made 21 more three-pointers than the Mavericks over the 3-game spread. How do I relate that to the Pistons? Well, the Pistons are designed for a bygone era. The player that some of you think is this easy decision to max out can't shoot the three. Now, even this year, he was barely league average, but for his career, he's awful. The Pistons also have no shooting around him at all, and they continue to want to collect big men who also can't shoot the three. Winning the NBA Finals, which is the ultimate goal of any team in the sport, I am simply looking at it going, all right, what do I have to do to get the Pistons on a roadway, a pathway to playing in this series? Mm-hmm. And whether it was the Celtics here, whether it was the Nuggets last year, whether it was the unbelievable run of the Golden State Warriors, look, it's pretty established. You have to shoot the three. In the NBA Finals, just to build the case a little more, and then I'll land the plane. In each of the first 3 games, you are averaging 73s taken per game between the two teams.
Yeah.
And the Celtics are averaging a shade of over 40 of those. Okay? Here's my question. If you have to get to a point where you are taking and making more threes than your opponent, which is analytics defined, where you are on a nightly basis, plus 12, plus 15, plus 18 from the three-point line, what do I have to do if I keep Cade? What do I have to put around him in order to make that happen? So, like I said, Jim and I are not adversarial about this. We just have a different way of looking at it. I'm not mad if we extend Cade. I understand. He's my best player. Okay, thank you for the nuanced analysis, people. The point is you won 14 games. Number 2, he's never healthy. And number 3, over a 3-year spread, not 1 or 3 months, he's an awful three-point shooter. Facts. So my question is, if you see what's on the big stage, and look, and I don't want to minimize Dallas, while they don't take the level of three-pointers the Celtics do, Luka, Kyrie, P.J. Washington, some of their role players. I know you're not seeing it from Maxi Kleber, but good three-point shooting everywhere except the center position. The Celtics, it speaks for itself. So my question is, Rico, hearing that stat in the NBA Finals, plus 60 in 3 games, there is a chance the Celtics could sweep the NBA Finals and have outscored the Mavericks from the three-point line by 90 points in a 4-game spread. Okay? I mean, that is just an average of 22.5 points a night. You're trailing because they're taking and making more threes than you can possibly keep up with. So if I keep Cade.
No, you're right, because last night as I'm watching and, the Mavs had this big lead, I was like, yeah, they won't keep this. Your Celtics are going to take this game. And sure enough, they did. Right, because all they do, analytics driven, jack 3 after 3 after 3, and they just find the open guy.
Look at a lineup that features Horford, both Jays, Derek White, and Drew Holiday. All 5 guys can shoot the 3. All 5. Now, if I sign Cade, already one of my guys really can't. And if I put Duren out there, well, now 2 of my guys can't. I got Ivy out there, well, 3 of my guys can't.
Thompson?
4 of my guys can't. So here's my point. The middle ground, and I talked to Jim about it off the air, and I said, look, I'm going to do this thing. I understand Jim's point, and he's not wrong. But what Trajan Langdon is going to be charged with, to me, is going to be nearly impossible. You, for all intensive purposes, have to get rid of the entire roster. The entire roster if you're going to keep Cade.
Right, and for me, if you keep Cade, it's one of those, it's a purchase that you're going to end up regretting. It's your Trae Young. It's your Zion. It's that guy that you were forced to re-sign, and then you hope and pray they turn out to be good and you look like a genius. But deep down, I'm going to have to deal with this guy at some point, and I need somebody to eat some of this salary because I can't keep him around for the next 5 years because we're not going to win with this person.
So if you keep Cade, and James Edwards, the athletic, 99%, he's getting the max extension, the 5 at, 220 plus incentives to 250, whatever it is, fine. What is your pathway to getting into the NBA Finals? Take me through that, just real quick. Like, what are the players I have to put around Cade Cunningham? Because here's the other problem. If you notice the Mavericks, Luka's a turnstile. Kyrie's a subpar defender. You know what the Celtics are doing on offense? Luka hunts for fouls. The Celtics hunt for matchups. Mm-hmm. And all they're doing is finding Luka or dragging Lively away from the basket. And they're running 3 screens and engaging 3 players at the same time, knowing Lively has to take one of them. And they're attacking. I bring it up because Cade's not that good of a defensive player. So when I start to look at what we need to build around, okay, Cade scores a decent amount of points in empty gyms in meaningless games. All right, cool. I think Cade physically has the ability to get to the free throw line and be a physical guard. That's a positive. But the negatives outweigh the positives when I am starting at the bottom. I have to pay him like a max player. And I have to, in an expeditious manner, put talent around him before his representation demands a trade. I just would like to know what the pathway is. And again, if you don't like the correlation or the relation I'm making between plus 63 from the three-point line in the NBA Finals to the Pistons, tell me why. Because the sport is not changing, guys. It's not, Rico, you always say toothpaste is out of the tube. So if these are the rules I have to play by, it's like the NFL. I don't think you get to play by, I'm just not going to have a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Those days are done.
Right.
So I wanted to throw it out there and ask the question. Because I think the easy topic, not a shot at Jim, but the easy topic is, clapping like a porpoise and just saying what a great idea it is to sign him. I don't know that that's the case because I can't keep Ivy. I can't keep Duren. I can't keep Asur Thompson. I have to essentially liquidate pennies on the dollar the entire last 5 years and then overspend on flawed players to bring them in to supplement what I'm trying to do.
You're almost held hostage because they're going to sign Cade, but you already know before the ink is dry, I am going to regret this deal because I'm now stuck with him. And yeah, I look at, once again, Atlanta with Trae Young. You don't think that they really wanted to, but they had to because he's our guy. We drafted him. Let's see how far he can go. Yeah. Zion was going to be this great player Didn't we, he never wanted to be in New Orleans. New Orleans was kind of forced. I guess we got to re-sign him, even though he doesn't want to be here.
See, you're nailing something. And this, I agree with you on. People have been lulled into what I think is a false argument. The idea of a max player. Well, it homogenizes what being a star is. Not every star is equal. I'll give me an example. Rico just brought up Trae Young. Trae Young, Steph Curry. Well, they're both max players. Well, one is invariably different than the other, including a tragic hairline. But yet in the NBA, the way it's designed is max is max. Max is max. Mm-hmm. I just think a lot of bad franchises hand out max deals to non-max players because, as you put it, Rico, you become a victim of your own futility. You become insecure and go, well, oh my God, it's my best player. Whatever will I do?
Can't let him walk, and what would the fans say? And I got to do something.
So my question is,
oh, I'm sorry. Oh, David, you were about to say something?
Please.
What I was going to say, Mike, it's because of what you've always said, that every rookie has gotten this extension. And so every team I think out there thinks, well, when it's time, yes, because if I don't, they're never going to want to play for my team.
Right.
So they just hand it out like it's candy.
But if I'm Langdon,
yes, exactly.
I didn't draft Cade.
Yep.
And again, unfortunately we don't know if Trajan Langdon's a real person or a Chat GPT creation. How do we know that Trajan Langdon loves Cade Cunningham? I don't know what he thinks of him. But if I were taking this over and my professional mortality was based on a guy who shoots sub 33% from three, I don't know that the first thing I'm doing when I walk in the door is handing him the better part of $250 million.
See, and where he comes from is key to that relationship because they dealt with Zion. Mm-hmm. Different situation.
Sure it is.
But we don't know how would he feel about giving it out again when they gave it out in New Orleans.
Right, but at least when Zion feels like playing, he looks like he's worth the money for 10 games a year.
That's the other question. Look, if you believe Cade can be an all-NBA player, you sign him. Because you need an all-NBA player to win the NBA Finals. You don't believe me, just go look. I question the wisdom. And again, I don't blame the writers. I'm not mad at anybody. I kind of smirk at the whole slam dunk. Of course they're Really? Because Cade's 3 years here. I want a grand total of 58 games. And he played out of a possible 246 games. He played 100 of them.
138.
Right. I don't know, guys. I kind of factor those things in when I'm moving my family here, and my entire life, I'll never get another job like this again if I fail. I look, I'm watching the NBA Finals. I know you're not, and I'm not mad about it. But brother, you have to understand what we're watching here, and you have to show me the pathway to getting to that game last night. Yeah. I don't know how I'm doing that with Cade.
Man, when you only won 14 games and almost set the NBA record, everything's on the table. Nothing is a given. Nothing is guaranteed. And this is truly one of those, sell me this pin. If I'm Trajan, sell me why I need to re-sign Cade.
Right. And again, if you do, which I am
not. And Troy is not allowed to be in the room.
No, and I'm not mad if they sign him. I'll go along with it. What is the pathway? And the roster composition have to be that if Cade doesn't ever become a 37, 38, 39% three-point shooter in volume, not taking one or two, in volume.
Yeah.
What is the pathway to that? Because here I can tell you, the first thing I have to do, Duran's gone, Asur Thompson's gone.
What I was about to say, if you're Trajan Langdon, you have to do something that the fan base does not want to hear. I'm not even going to make you wait. You got to gut this team and just say, guys, a lot of mistakes were made. I wasn't here for that. We have to start from here.
And I think it leads you in a direction for the draft less than 2 weeks from now, and I'll tell you what it is next.
Oh.
Got him.